I think Lisa may have, she's moseying along with her husband driving, so she may have fell out on us. I'm always kind of curious, Brent, because CVSA is kind of a
Uh-huh.
big organization, and they do a lot of conferences, events, and
I might be
exhibitions.
back. Am I back?
There you are. Do you hear us, Lisa? Earth to Lisa.
Go ahead, John.
So I'm kind of curious. Do you ever go and attend some of the CVSA conferences or exhibitions?
I do. I do. I've been to several workshops over the last few years. And the big event this year for Indiana is the week before this scheduled brake safety week is we're hosting the NACE competition. So that's North America Inspectors Competition, and it coincides with the National Truck Driving Championships. So they're hosted in Indianapolis this year. So as the truck drivers are competing for in their various events, we're going to have inspectors from all around North America um, competing for the inspector championships as well. So that's a big event that's going to be happening this month
Is
here
that
in Indianapolis.
is that a CVSA event or is that an ATA event?
Well, it's CVSA. CVSA puts on the of course, the inspector championship, and then they work. Basically, we're all there together. So ATA's got um, their events going on. We've got our events going on, and then at the end of the week, everybody gets together and have several like dinners and banquets that we both attend, and it's kind of a real neat event if you've ever got the chance to go and participate.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I noticed. I was looking at the CVSA stuff, and they have a lot of them. They got a lot of them scheduled for next year under future events and stuff. I guess Hazard Material Enforcement Development is next January. CVSA workshop May of next year in New Orleans. You ever get to go out of state doing this stuff, or do you just get more local?
More local, especially when events are held more local, or there's extra grant money to send extra personnel get to go. Of course, I never get to go any cool places. The last big one I went to, it was St. Louis, so it's like, oh, okay. They sent a bunch of us because it was easy for us to drive and get there. But I do get to go around the country and stuff with the FMCSA with instructing and getting to teach other state inspectors and hosting having classes here in the state as well. So I have gotten to travel and get to see some different places. So
Yeah, next year in August they're going to have the inspectors championships going to be in Minneapolis, and in 2026 it's going to be in Pittsburgh. So those are still relatively close for you, aren't they?
yes they are. Yes they are. They've oh started. It used to really be spread out across North America, but I think they've kind of hit on the Midwest. So it's entered a 4 year cycle: Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Minneapolis, and I believe Columbus.
Oh, okay. So they pretty much hit the same spots. It's just a 4 year rotation. Um, so how does that work? Like, do you actually have winners and stuff, and you get awarded for first, second, and third place, or
You guys still hear me?
yeah? I
Yeah.
think you missed the question. I was asking how that works in the championship. You can hear us, okay, right? Oh, he fell out.
Ah, we lost. And I'm back. And I had a question too.
You
Dang
finally
Oh my
thought
it.
something
God.
up.
I did. Well, like I said, when
Oh,
we're in Western Nebraska, it just, these rolling hills just mess with my service. I was hoping we'd be closer to the interstate by the time things started, but we're not quite there yet. So,
Ah, how about now, Brent? Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So I was just asking how I'm doing these championships. How does that work entirely? I mean, obviously you got first, second, and third place champions. Are they are prizes awarded, or is it just recognition, or is it just all about fun and improving your skills?
It's so for the awards, they do have different like trophies and plaques, and then there's the there's the level one inspection portion, motor coach, and then you have the overall. So, and then they have the hazmat as well. So they've got different categories, and then whoever scores the highest over those three categories, and then there's a written test that's done as well. We have like an hour to complete 100 questions, and whoever scores the highest over those four categories is the grand champion. So,
Okay.
and then various states like, man, the last few years Texas has been a powerhouse. They have awesome in-state championship, inspector championships for their state and their local jurisdictions. And when they send people, they they send people. Um, and then it's just up to the different states jurisdictions to decide who they're going to send. And it's definitely I've competed a couple times, and you go there and you feel like, okay, I can't squeeze another bit of information into my head. I think I've learned everything, but then you're quickly humbled and realized, holy, you leave that day when you're all said and done, and you're like, I am the dumbest person alive. How am I walking and drinking out of this bottle of water at the same time? I do not know anything. And but I still have communication with an inspector I met in Canada. We talk about every 6 months. I got people from Texas and different states that I talk to frequently and bounce ideas and questions. And hey, I got this truck here. Look at this, and it really is. It's a neat thing to get to experience.
I was wondering if you ever studying for that and think to yourself, "Geez, I could have been a lawyer and passed a bar exam a lot easier than trying to keep up with all these things."
Oh, I know it. I know it. And if it wasn't fun getting to actually, put hands on, I'm not a good book reader, so I tend to. I'm surprised I understand some of these regulations the way I do, as little as I enjoy the book stuff. But let me get out and crawl underneath it, and I'm a happy guy. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. That's probably hands-on's a little bit more easy because I don't know, because you're in it. You know what I mean? You're doing it as opposed to
Mhm.
mental. Um, Hazmat. I always thought that about hazmat. Hazmat's something that seems to me you got to stay current on. You either use it or lose it, sort of thing. And I always used to get frustrated with that because I knew my hazmat and packaging groups and things like that. But it seemed like every time I got a hazmat load, it was once every 2 years or something. By the time I got one, I'd forgotten most of the stuff. I always
Oh,
wondered if they shouldn't change the rules on that a little bit.
I know it. I'm a Part B instructor, so that covers the level one and the vehicle and all of that. And yeah, I've got my hazmat certification. I've got my cargo tank certification. I like cargo tank because it's a lot more hands on. But when it comes to the basic stuff, oh yeah, I say, you want to see my head spin and me pass out, start asking me hazmat questions. It's definitely not my strong suit, and you're exactly right. The couple of people we got, they love hazmat, and I'm just like, phew. But then they turn around and they're calling me for basic questions on brakes. So I'm like, all right, I don't feel too bad now. But it's
The
like you
network.
said, yes, it's definitely nice to have people that, hey, they're strong in that, they're strong in this. So if you got a question on this, call them. If you got a question on that, call them. So
So it's sort of like going back to the lawyer thing. That's what lawyers do, right? Hey, I got a case over here I'm working on, and I know you did one not too long ago.
exactly. I do divorce lawyer. I'm a family attorney, or yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what you got. The truck drivers do it too. We got groups and stuff on social media. As long as they're not poking at one another, they might get a straight answer.
Mhm.
Do you think?
Truck drivers are horrible with each other sometimes. Lisa, you had a question, didn't you?
I did. Okay, so I have a little bit of service now, hopefully. Um, Brett, I see more and more the foreigner drivers in the trucks, and I see more and more they can't speak English or understand English. How is that even allowed with the DOT? I thought you had to be able to read English, speak English, understand what a stop sign is in order to get your CDL, but obviously I'm a dumbass and that's completely wrong.
So yes, gosh, and I'm starting to date myself, but up until about 7 or 8 years ago, the not being able to speak English was an out of service violation. Then it got phased out of the out of service portion because and I talked to a gentleman somewhere at one of these conferences and was like, why is it that it's no longer an out of service? And they said, well, they researched all the different times that it was written as a violation, and they determined that a lot of states were not listing it as out of service. And then they went in and looked, and these states that were listing it but not listing as an out of service were border states, and a lot of their officers were bilingual. So they would write it as a violation, but did not write it as an out of service. So they said the data didn't keep it consistent with needing to be an out of service violation. And then things progressively changed, and like they tell us now, well, that's why you're issued state cell phones with Google Translate, and you're to make do. So it's trust me, it's frustrating for us as well, because I'll be like, hey, put your foot on the brake. See, put your foot on the brake. See, and you're like, oh my gosh, or I'm going underneath truck. Do not start it. See, and you're like, oh boy, I'm going to keep my hands out of those moving parts. So yeah, it definitely is frustrating.
It must be scary. I mean, thinking about that, you're climbing underneath the truck and you're trying to, I mean, chalk the wheels. I know you do, but just the same, the trucks don't hold it. That truck goes in gear and rolls away.
Yeah, it can be sticky from time to time.
Last week, I had sent you an article that one of our viewers had sent in, Brent, about the pilot program starting over on Eastern Indiana, where they were going to start having cameras into the construction areas. Do you foresee that happening as a statewide event?
Yes, I do. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. The cameras on the black poles with the little solar panels.
Right.
I'm sure you guys have seen those around the country, starting to pop up more and more. Have you guys
We
seen
have
those?
you open up your GPS anymore and it'll show you where all the cameras are. And you got to
Yeah.
expand the page so to get through the camera so you can actually see the map. There's so many of them.
And what so I'll just real quick, those cameras are something separate. So that's it's called the flock system, FLOCK, and for the life of me I can't remember, but that's kind of a neat program. Everybody's like, oh, they're watching us, they're doing this, and I had some training on it, and it's really neat. Like if your vehicle's stolen, or if there's an Amber Alert, or there's like a bank robbery with it's really neat what they can kind of, and they've showed examples of an Amber Alert was put out, and they can type in the plate information and it pulls it from the database. And so that's kind of really neat what they can do with that technology. But yeah, that article what you were saying, they've started to introduce that, and yeah, it's a stationary camera system they put in, that it's basically monitoring your speed. If it detects that your vehicle's over the posted limit, it'll photograph the car and then photograph the plate, and then supposedly it'll auto run the plate and then generate a citation for that vehicle, which I've not
Would be
seen
mailed.
it.
That would be
Yeah.
mailed to your house, right?
Yeah, kind of like toll bridges or anything like that. So
I'm always perplexed by that because you have more than one operator per vehicle sometimes in a household. How do you actually prove who was driving it? I mean, does it take a picture of the driver as well, or is it not really a point system violation, just a monetary?
that's a really good question. And since we've not had them introduced in our area, they've not really talked to us much about them. So I've not seen any or had any training directly on that to see what exactly it's doing. So that's a really good question for sure.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting answer to find out someday. I'm
Mhm.
sitting there looking at this 389 Peterbilt you got up for a Avatar, and I like the 389s; they're pretty awesome. But it makes me wonder because I know Tennessee has them, but does Indiana have police trucks like that?
What kind of trucks?
Semi trucks with the red lights in the or in the grill and
Oh, if we did, I'd be the first one to step forward and say, "I got a Class A CDL. Let me drive it." I'd be I'd be all over that. Like, well, I'll let you fill in whatever saying you like best for your region. But
I heard him say he'd be all over that like white on rice.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
exactly what I heard.
There we go. And a bunch of years ago, we had a commander that was pretty interested in starting pilot programs, and I even reached out to several other states and asked them how they acquired their trucks and all of that, and was trying to get something started because I'm like, hey, I've got the Class A CDL. A pretty white flat top Peterbilt would look pretty darn good with red blue lights and an Indiana State Police door shield on it, but no. So
Well, you used to own a cab over Freightliner at one time.
yes, I did. Got it from a friend of mine. Got it home, brought it back from Missouri, and kind of tore into it a little bit. But unfortunately, it was going to need a lot more. And of course, being a DOT inspector, when I'm looking at it, going, "Oh my gosh, it's going to need tires, brakes, this. Oh man, this is bad. This is bad." So somebody would have looked at it and said, "Oh, $5,000, you can have it up and running." But me looking at it, I'm like, I'm going to need 4 times that amount. So,
Well, 20 grand probably wouldn't be really bad to invest to a truck these days. I mean, if you utilize it well, if it were me, I often think I'd like to have a big truck to register as an RV with the fifth wheel, have an articulate RV. I thought that would be kind of cool, be able to just cruise across the country, man, in a big truck with my pull behind trailer.
Yeah. Oh, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
Is it possible we could see Brent Hoover reenacting Cheech Martin or Chong driving a cab over? Yeah, Tommy Chung driving a cab over, pulling a U-Haul trailer.
That was funny.
Oh, I know it.
Was that the scene where he was stoned or something, or was he falling asleep behind the wheel and Cheech kept coming out of the sleeper bunk? Hey man, wake up, man! Stop it! You're falling asleep, man. But he really wasn't there.
I don't think Brent would go that far.
No,
No.
I'm pretty sure he's not
I just
moving
had
up.
the I just had the enactment of him pulling a U-Haul trailer again. So, but
Hey, I do have one quick question while I have service. You know me, I'm in and out tonight. Hey, Brett, how does that work? You know, you guys had just discussed like hauling your camper with your semi. How are there laws? What are there regulations when you haul your personal, like a step deck, like we have mega trucks on a step deck, or our toy hauler with their semi? If we ever decide to do that, are there like rules and regulations for that?
So if you a lot of it is how you go to register it. So if you go to register it and you register it as a personal use, then that's when you don't have to have DOT numbers, you don't have to have the commercial stuff, and you don't need the CDLs as long as you're not doing anything commercial with it. Is that what you was kind of implying about?
What I no, I asked about like our truck is DOT'd. You know, we have
Oh,
our
okay.
numbers and everything. If we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to pull, like if we wanted to buy a bigger toy hauler and pull it with our semi, we see people
Oh,
doing it all the time. I just didn't know if there were different like rules and regulations for that.
yeah. So and I would have to dig in it, but basically, if it's one of those deals, say like you take a couple weeks off and you own the truck and you know you're leased on and basically you cover up the numbers and stuff. Yeah, you can use your truck to haul your personal camper and stuff like that. So um, you know you wouldn't
You
have to
just have to cover
necessarily.
up your DOT numbers.
Yeah, yeah, and like I had a
And
gentleman hit me up a few years ago and we kind of sat down and agreed, you know, um, cover up the DOT numbers if having I'm getting ready to sneeze. Hold on just a second. Okay. All right, it passed. But you know, if you're going to be doing that, maybe get something from the letterhead of the company that's got the registration that says, "Hey, you know, they're leased on, they own the truck, that we have the registrations, but you know, we're clear that they're going to be, you know, on vacation utilizing the truck to pull, you know, something that isn't necessarily required, no, but would it help you in a situation you do get stopped or you get inspected and you're like, hey, what's going on? Here's what's going on. My company's, you know, that I'm leased onto, I own the truck, but I'm leased on the truck. They take care of the registration. That's why the registration says ABC Trucking and not my name. And they're aware that I'm off on vacation this 2 weeks, using it to pull my camper. Da, 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 da. You know, that just kind of helps the, you know, situation, shows us that okay, you know, you're not just, oh yeah, it's my camper and I'm going on vacation with it. So
okay, because
So
we own our own. It's our truck. That's why I asked. We have a couple mega trucks that
I think we're losing her.
we lost her.
I think we lost her. So Brent, now in regard to her question,
mhm.
obviously, if it's a registered commercial motor vehicle and you were going to you're going to use it for personal reasons, you just basically for to cover your own butt, you would log that under PC miles, right? Just for the event that they seen the truck's been moving on your ELD and stuff like that.
Yep, yep. You know, PC, personal use, you go in off on vacation, towing, you know, camper to work, whatever. And then, yeah. And then if we see PC, because, and I'm glad you guys kind of brought that up because um, we've been seeing lately drivers and small carrier, or, you know, different carriers are trying to do things with their ELD devices and they're trying to push those limits. But what people need to understand is when we look at an ELD device, you may see one thing on your screen, but when we transfer those logs to us, we see so much more data that's going to get you get you caught up in a situation you don't want to be in. So it's kind of like, you know, you're looking at your ELD device in your truck and you see, say, 5 different things. Well, when we pull it, we're going to see 15 different things. Like there's things that are, you know, data points, locations. We're seeing a lot more data that, you know, we're going to drivers and saying, hey, why did you? And I had one a couple months ago. The driver had went in and said he stopped in, and I had to laugh because it was Iowa 80. You guys all know where Iowa 80, the world's largest truck stop's at. I've even personally been there and looked at it. So when I saw that he had stopped for the night at Iowa 80, did a 10-hour break and left, and I was stopping him an hour and a half later, I was like, something's not right here. Because I've driven home from Iowa 80 to my house, and it's not an hour and a half trip. So this driver's got some explaining to do. And then, you know, he was kind of, oh, that's what I did. That's what I did. And then I showed him my printout and was like, no, that's not what you did. I know exactly when you left. And I can tell you exactly when you know, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I did. So guys are trying to falsify things and then not be very truthful. It's like, guys, we've already got the data. Don't make it worse. Just, yes, I screwed up. Here's what I did, and go about it that way.
So turning off the logbook doesn't pay off.
No, it does not help you at all. Seems
All
like
those-
a quick fix, but
all those mileages are accounted for. Yeah, it's kind of changes the whole dynamics of things. I made a statement to that to the US DOT, you know, the FMCSA one time about that back in the day. You know, drivers can just shut them off or this or that. You know, they'll find ways to cheat. Yes, John, but we made it more difficult for them to find ways to cheat.
yeah. And then throw in a language barrier on top of it, and you're like, it makes for a long inspection, if you know what I mean. So,
Do you find that people speak English just fine until they do get pulled over?
yeah, sometimes, or you pull the whole, hey, you drop that $20 bill on the ground, and they're looking down, looking for it, and you're like, gotcha, and they kind of, you know, but.
Yeah.
Or you step around the truck and you hear them speaking decent enough English or something to the phone, or you know, their girlfriend on the phone or something like that. So.
Well, Brent, I guess another question while we're on that subject is, are you finding it more difficult having foreign drivers come through the scale house than not usual?
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, and I always put it this way, you know, if I went to, let's say, if I went to Germany, and you plot me down, Brent Hoover, 42-year, you know, Midwesterner, and then told me, okay, drive around, follow all the rules. If I get stopped by the police, am I going to understand what they're saying, asking? Absolutely not. So it's kind of those same situations that we run into, that it's like, okay, you know, something me and you, I'd say, hey, can I see your bill of lading, your logbook, your license, and your permit book? Sure, you know exactly what all that is. You can hand it over. We can look through it and be done in 5 minutes. But with them, it's 15, 20, you know, sometimes 30 minutes just to try to find the simplest things. And it's kind of sad that, you know, they're working, they're trying to, and I told this to you guys, you know, somebody asked me a long time ago, they're like, basically, he was like, you're awful nice, that driver. And I said, well, he's out here making a living. You know, he's putting food on the table for his family. He's in a heavily regulated industry, and what gets me is people just do not realize when they go to the grocery store and when they go out, where their stuff's coming from. And I'm just like, you want to be rude to this guy, but yet he's delivering your groceries and your gas and everything else. So it's tiring sometimes,
Well, and you and I have talked about that privately over the phone before, but I think what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of this stuff gets taken for granted. And with yours and mine profession, they think we're just out here to be out here in some cases. But in other cases, I look and see that, when we're going to talk about safety issues, I mean, I seen on one of your videos where a brake canister wasn't bolted down in the saddle right, and the damn thing was moving every time they went to go ahead and apply the brake to it. Now, I just call that plain laziness.
Well, or the guy that the driver that time, he was like pissed off at me because I placed him out of service. And the reason I placed him out of service was because he had a fuel leak and the fuel was leaking onto the wires coming from his batteries, the positive.
Ooh.
had shaped and had bare wires in that fuel. I mean, it was just one of those, how is this truck not caught fire? Because it was the fuel leak was dripping onto the bare electrical wires. And it's like, and he's like, you're placing me out of service for that? And I'm like, bud,
Yeah.
this truck's about ready to catch fire and burn down. And it could do it, at any time. But he was just upset with me. I just the meanest DOT ever. So you guys know me. I'm just out here picking on people.
Yeah.
But,
So did Lisa come back, or is she still out there in Na land?
Well, right now she's muted, so
No, I think I just muted because I wasn't sure if I'd be in and out of service, but I think I have a little bit of service now. But this old truck, she's loud, so I don't need you guys to be hearing this loud old truck.
we don't hear the
Real
truck.
Nothing wrong with some good old Jake brakes in the background.
Yeah, well, yeah,
That's
she's
right.
got hooded too. She's got hooded too, Brent.
Oh.
Listen, just because we have a big hooded truck, yes, I have hooditude.
You do.
Absolutely.
You just don't have a cat
I do.
engine.
Listen, are we going to go there, Sean? Really?
I'll go there with you.
Wow. I'll put this
She's got
Detroit up
hooditude.
next to I'll put this Detroit up next to your cat.
Okay. Anytime, baby. Anytime.
We'll beat you just by the hood alone.
Okay.
Your little hood will be standing back there, and our big hood will be over the finish line.
Okay. Brent, this is a common case of somebody listened to too much Barry Manilow. I like dreaming.
Whatever. I like big hoods. It's like that old song, I like big butts and I cannot lie, but mine is I like big hoods.
Yeah.
I like big hoods.
I've been known to randomly select the best looking truck in the line at the scales, and why'd you pick me? Because you got a cool looking truck. Oh, okay.
Oh,
We
so
have an
let me guess.
obsolete truck.
Let me guess. So I'm going to purposely run with Lisa. You could pick her out, and then I could go by and just smile. Is that
There
how
you go.
that'll work?
Yeah, yeah.
We have Brett. Would we be driving by at night with all our lights on? And he'd be like, "Oh shit, check out that one. We're pulling them in."
Oh yeah.
Because
Or
I
then
can't
I-
afford chicken lights.
Well, and then we're talking chicken lights. You know, had one guy comes pulling into the scales, and you know those whip antennas that light up all different colors. Have you guys seen those?
I haven't, but I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, he had them all disco light, just to flash in all the different colors. And he's like,
Oh God.
he comes pulling in, and he's like, why you stop me? Why you stop me? And I said, see those lights? And he goes, oh, you like those? And I'm like, no. I said, those are illegal. Oh, but I bought them at a truck stop. I'm like, yeah, you can buy a bunch of illegal stuff at the truck stop. Like, you know.
Just like the license plate holders, they had the lights in them. Remember those?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And
I
Then
just,
they,
yeah.
then
I
they
like
start,
lights.
yeah.
they started
And that-
issuing out. They actually started issuing out fines for that in Indiana.
Yeah, we well, what we were starting to see was a lot of the Jeeps were starting to add lights on them, and they would change colors. And it's like,
Really?
no, you're not. Yeah, like if the Jeep was purple, they'd have purple accent lights, and then all these Bubba trucks running around with the clear. They clear out their clearance lights. They change them over to clear, and it's like, no, that's against Indiana state, right? You know, state law. Clearance lamp has to be amber in color. So
Well, even
See,
when they're
that's-
turned on, they're yellow or amber, right?
yeah, if they're turned on, they got to be yellow or amber, and
Yeah.
they're putting
All our lights
clear
are amber.
lenses on clear. And I like all the chicken lights. They're the right colors. And I stopped this one guy. He had a neat switch. He goes, I'll show you since you like the lights. But he had a switch, and he could change all the marker lights down his cab, different colors and stuff. That was pretty neat. So
Yeah,
So
Scott put a bunch. We have amber lights inside. Hell, our truck's lit up like a house when he turns on our inside lights.
heck yeah.
So what you were getting at earlier, Brent, is you can't have blue or red lights on the front of your vehicle, but you can have a different color if it's an accent light other than what's required as marker lights, can't you?
No, so like the only thing visible to the front is obviously clear for the headlights, and then amber. So, and then only thing visible to the rear is red or amber as a turn signal.
All right.
So-
So you can't
so-
have other lights on the, like, say, the side of your truck, where some people like put the purple chicken lights or whatever. You can't have those on the side of your truck.
Yeah, you can't have you cannot have purple. So, a guy the other day, he had some purple lights, and I know why he had them. They were anti, you know how they'll put like the purple light up on the windshield is like anti-glare or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was another one that I was like, hey, I was trying to be friendly. See, you know, said it didn't see a license plate. Oh well, it's up here on the dash. I'm like, okay, but that's a violation. You're not allowed to have it there. Well, I've damaged 3 license plates, you know, and I'm like, oh. Again, you're not allowed to have it there. And see those purple lights that I can see from the front of the truck? Well, they used to all have them in the 60s and 70s. And I'm just looking at him like, and we're in 2024 in the federal regulation state, you cannot have them. I'm just asking you to shut them off and be mindful. There could be another very mean trooper out there that doesn't give 2 squats and will write you several tickets for it. So quit getting crappy with me when all I'm trying to do is just say, hey, be careful with that. So,
All right. Well, what about utility lights on the back of the cab?
So the same thing with those. if you're parked, loading, doing whatever, they can be whatever color in the rainbow you want. Just if you're going down the road, you can't have, different colored lights showing.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like I've got 3 different sets. 2 sets are red, one's white, the one in the middle, but I don't run down the road with them on.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, when they go out, I've been replacing them and putting the white in.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, we
Yeah.
just need to get you some lights, like our bumper, our air cleaners. You need to just light it up like a Christmas tree like ours.
Heck
I
yeah.
took a bunch of that stuff off when I bought this truck. Thank you.
He took all the chrome off too and sold it.
I know he
took all the
did.
chrome off. There's only one thing I got left, and it's going to be leaving soon.
Oh, he's calling the ladies.
So as soon as that red light, it's about to disappear too.
I always have to tease Scott when we're driving down, down the road, and it gets to be about dark. I'm like, flick on all these fancy lights. I'm just like, what the hell do we pay all this money for if you ain't gonna run them?
So
They're expensive. He doesn't want to burn them out.
Yeah, I know they are.
Yeah.
kind of like I seen that one state trooper down in Virginia one year. That driver went and had Christmas lights put all around his windshield of his truck. And that's that state trooper down there told him, he said, I'm going to treat that just like regular lights. If one goes out, it's a $75 fine per light. Now,
It's that old. I think Brent will understand this. He sees enough truck going through. My husband's an old bull hauler, and you know how their trucks are light up like Christmas trees, those old bull haulers.
Oh, yeah.
I've got chicken lights on this, but every time one goes out, I have them take it off. I won't let them replace it. So, I mean, I just won't do it.
I'd be running them chicken lights, man.
No.
I like
check
it
them
when
every
I'm
now
driving
and
down
then.
at night, and I can see all around the road all around me.
I look at them every now and then at night, just to make sure that they're, if any's burned out, then I just take them off. I'm not going to play with them. They're just too much BS.
They can be a lot of work to keep up with. What was that song? Chicken Lights and Chrome?
Yeah.
Couple hundred or so.
So we got a few minutes left. Brent, is there anything you'd like to say to our listeners?
Nope. Just keep doing what you're doing. Be safe. If you get pulled in, don't don't be grumpy with the inspector. No need for that. We're just trying to do our thing, and quicker we can do our thing and get you guys back on the road, we're just as happy. So that's about all.
I guess to your point there, Brent, I remember one time many, many years ago when I first started driving truck, I was at the egg station. It was an egg station. They were checking my maybe it was a combination with DOT and egg, but they were checking my paperwork for plants and stuff coming in. And I'm sitting there late at night waiting for them to get through all the paperwork and everything. And suddenly an officer walks in and says, Sergeant, I want you to inspect that truck and find anything you can find wrong with that truck, because that needs to learn you don't come in these coops and start swearing and cursing at me. And suddenly he scooped up them papers, put them back in the envelope, said, we're all done here, sir. You have yourself a good evening.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess you don't mouth off to the cops around here.
Yeah, you sir. And yeah, there's been times where it's like, yep, you sir are free to go. Or they see one getting lippy and he gets an extra couple tickets slid across the counter, and the other guy's like, I'm glad I kept my mouth shut. Thank you for the warning, officers. You guys be safe. We're like, you have a good one too, buddy.
That's just
You
it
know,
on the flip side of the coin, if you're decent enough. Like you
find out.
said many times here before, a law enforcement officer, same as anybody else, they like to be treated with respect, and just like you do. You go in there, you talk to them like a normal human being, you have a good experience. They'll treat you with respect.
Well,
absolutely.
And I did find out going through an egg station, it's when they ask you what you're hauling, you probably should not answer with the word sailboat fuel.
Or motorcycle doors.
Yeah, motorcycle doors.
Motorcycle doors. That's a good one.
Yeah. I came out empty. He said, "Well, you got on?" I said, "Sailboat fuel." Get the hell out of here, you damn smart. Blah, 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 blah. I thought, yeah, I don't think we'll do that again.
Yeah, you knew what you meant.
I had a driver say that once. I said, what do you got? And he's sailboat fuel. And I said, oh, do you got the high grade or the low grade stuff? And that threw him for a loop. He was like, huh?
You never got
Oh,
a
I would have
response
told you
before.
high grade. I would have told you the highest grade possible.
So I said, well, if you got the high grade, I need to see your permits for the high grade stuff. I was ready to start shooting back at him, but I confused him. I got in his OODA loop and shut him down on that one. So
I just would have opened up the doors and said, there's your high grade, sir.
See, anybody been hauling any dispatcher brains lately?
oh
Oh,
gosh.
God.
So
I knew that was going to come in sooner or later.
It has to every
So-
time, man.
So anyway, Brent, I thank you for coming on with us again tonight. You've been
No problem.
most generous. You've been most generous every time I've asked. And
Hey.
when's the next blitz coming up? Besides August.
Don't quote me on it. I believe there's always one in early fall, and
Yeah.
it varies what it is. There may be an unannounced 3-day where they just collect data, but to everybody listening, the big thing is if you're doing your pre-trips, following your hours of service, and maintaining your speed limits, you really don't have much to worry about. So.
Now, aren't speed limits just suggestions? I mean, come on.
Not to the ticket book. Not to the ticket book.
Hey, look, you're only breaking the law if you get caught. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you get caught, it's not my
You go
fault.
through-
you're doing it.
You go through Terre Haute at 65 mile an hour when it's 55, and you tell Brent you took that as only as a suggestion. You let me know how that works out for you.
I told my husband, I said, next time we get through Terre Haute, because we get around there quite a bit hauling what we're hauling now. I said, we're going to pull in there. And I said, I want to meet Brent. And he said, yeah, but he'll probably give me a level 3 when I pull in there because I'm your husband. And I said, maybe.
Maybe.
Hey, look,
Maybe.
all inspections are free,
Always-
providing you pass.
You're always getting
Exactly.
that
Deal.
man. You're always getting that man in trouble.
I know I am.
Donnie Loman's right. You're always getting that husband of yours in trouble.
I know. 26 years, somebody's got to do it.
There you go. There you go.
So, but Brent, I thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it. But
Not a
and,
problem. You
we'll be
guys
looking
have a good
forward
evening.
we'll be looking forward for the next time you come on, sir.
All right. Sounds good. You guys have a good night.
Bye,
All right,
Brent.
you take care, Brent.
Bye.
So that was Indiana State Trooper Brent Hoover coming on, letting us know what's going to happen at the end of August. John, I suppose now's the time. Lisa, you got 3 minutes to specify why you should be trucking president over Donnie Loman.
I don't even need 3 minutes. It's just like, vote for me. I'm cooler than Donnie Loman. I mean, that's
You
it.
sure about this?
I have better hair than Donnie Loman does. I make a better lasagna than Donnie Loman does. I cook my food. I don't DoorDash it like Donnie Loman does. I mean, come on. What else? What else do you need?
I see that she's sporting the Trump duck, and anybody supporting Trump has got to be
That's
looking
right.
for that position.
I got the Trump duck up tonight.
You do realize I'm going to give Loman 3 minutes next week.
Well, yeah, I get 3 minutes too. Why can't I have 3
You
minutes?
got your
Why
3
is-
minutes.
Oh, she gets no, man. You can't do it like that. This isn't
Yeah,
official
that's not-
time. Oh man, see, this is the problem. We got a conflict of interest here, ladies and gentlemen.
I know.
We got the
No,
independent over here managing Loman Nation, and now he's giving her 3 minutes. Now I'm going to give him when the show goes on.
John, you're going to have my back,
I might
for
have to
the
be
show.
team TIBN over here or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Team
Hey, I
Squirrel.
thought you had
Squirrel
Ellie. I
Squad.
thought she was your manager.
Where is Allie?
She's not feeling well.
Call me
Oh.
after the show, Lisa.
Yeah, I got your text message this morning, but I'll call you after the show.
Yeah, call me after the show.
all you need to know is I'm cooler than Donnie Loman. I mean, literally, what more is that?
Well,
I mean, I
speaking of,
have like amazing hair. Donnie Loman is bald. I mean, come on.
well,
What more
some
do you
women
need?
find baldness very attractive.
Yeah.
So
I
in
think
case
you're
y'all haven't,
partial.
So you
no, I'm
you
not.
find the bald
I'm
women
not
attractive
partial.
there, Sean?
Say why?
Do you find bald women attractive?
Well, yeah,
He does, see? You caught
yeah,
him. Sean's doing it dirty.
yeah.
Bald-headed
Bald,
women.
bald,
What he likes
bald.
about you can interchange the hair. Here, put on this wig tonight. Put on that wig
No,
tonight.
that ain't the hair I was thinking about. But you go ahead with that.
Damn it. See,
Oh.
John, what are we going to do with him?
You know they
We're gonna-
actually used to have hair for down
What the
there.
fuck is that?
So in case y'all haven't figured it out, next week Team Loman will be on with the Squirrel Squad. This will be next week will be their last debate before they actually go into voting the next day. In all fairness, they had a battle last Friday, which Squirrel Squad did show up and they did participate.
And I won. Now
and
don't just scroll over that, Sean. I
I'm gonna
showed up,
say
I
this.
participated, but I won.
I'm going to say this. If I hadn't had that busted airbag, Loman would have got a lion.
Whatever. I still won.
Loman would have
Listen
got
to
a
this
lion.
guy. If this and if that. Hey, you know
Yeah.
what? That's not how it ended.
I mean, Donnie Loman got like 6,000 points. I got like 55,000 points. It wasn't just a little win. I spanked that booty.
Okay, well, let's see if you can do a repeat next Thursday. Because as Loman's campaign manager, I promised him 2 more videos.
That's not even fair that next Thursday that I have to debate on the TIBN and Donnie's getting partial treatment because of you.
No, Donnie's not getting partial treatment. Donnie gets his time just like everybody else. You get yours, he gets his. It's pretty simple.
Okay, well, that's not what he said earlier, was it, John?
I just gave you an extra 3.
Neither, Mr. Give her 3 minutes now.
Hey, I gave her 3 minutes to specify. She winded up in 20 seconds.
I did. I'm cooler than Donnie Loman.
But I have to remind you who's won the last 4 cooking competitions.
Now, Donnie did not win last night. It was a tie between Donnie Loman and Trouble. This Wednesday, they are having a cook-off just between Donnie Loman and Trouble because they tied. So there will be a special cook-off Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central against those two. So, no, Donnie did not win. He tied with Trouble.
And if I'd been there instead of in the motel room,
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Okay. So next Wednesday, they are having a battle. They're battling it off, right?
Yes. Wednesday night at 7, it'll be Trouble against Donnie Loman.
All right.
Battle to see who wins because they tied.
Now, in all fairness, since we're doing all this, all the proceeds that was accumulated between you and Loman, what does that go to?
32 truckers a day.
Okay. I'm giving you a chance to do a flea plug here. Go for it.
Lisa, what is 32 truckers a day?
32 Truckers Day is a 501c3 that helps truck drivers when they're in their time of need. We help provide meals. We help get a shower if they need a shower. We buy them food if they need food. We have also a fundraiser not too long ago. We helped a truck driver bury his son. We paid, I think, close to $6,500. We raised $6,500 for the funeral. So we do all of that for the truck drivers.
Okay.
That's pretty darn cool, man.
So don't forget next Thursday.
So that is what 32 a day is.
So don't forget next Thursday we'll be back with teams with the Squirrel Squad and Loman Nation. Tuesday night.
But do you notice?
Go ahead.
That there's so many Squirrel Squad t-shirts popping up everywhere. I don't see one Donnie Loman t-shirt anywhere.
Well,
So I
that's
thought,
okay because the last video I remember, Loman Nation was looking at you all buglified, and we were comfortably numb.
oh my God, he is such a moron. Did you see that one he just did about me with the squirrel song?
Yes, I did.
There's a squirrel
John,
song.
you're gonna have to go check that one out.
Oh yes,
Yes, and he posted like a bunch of my pictures. Yeah.
and he did the Ray Stevens, the Mississippi Squirrel Revival.
That
Yeah.
sounds funny. The
Yeah,
day
you'll
the
have to go check
squirrel
out.
went berserk.
He
Yeah,
actually
you'll have to
tagged
go
me in
check
that
out
one.
his latest TikTok. Yeah, he tagged
actually
me in it
tagged me in
too.
that. I told him that would have worked, but yes, we were doing the
Mhm.
comfortably numb. Because quite frankly, what do you say and do for a Klondike bar?
Isn't the show over? Don't you have places to be, people to see?
So don't forget with that note, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you can catch John with Bad Billy on Patriot Confederation. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you can catch John with Chris and Todd on the Common Sense Conservative. And we'll be back next Thursday where I have to deal with Loman Nation and this thing.
You're such an ass. I'm out.
This thing.
Peace.
Now, what a way to treat a fellow host. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our bit for
Oh,
tonight. We
well,
hope that-
not to mention, I have a feeling Allie will be here for that one. Because Allie's already made it clear she ain't missing this one.
Squirrel Squad. Take us out of here, John, before I have to come through and smack Sean Mitchell.
Well, I was wondering here. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our bit for tonight. We hope you got something out of it. Keep the greasy side down, the shiny side up, and between the lines, safe travels wherever it is you may be going. And as always, be good. And if you can't be good, well, be good at it. And we gone.